Hello and welcome back to the part 18 of the video series on staying healthy and preventing COVID-19 infection during the current pandemic. So we're going to discuss today about the safe sun exposure and generation of vitamin D and the physiological functions of vitamin D, how it helps us in general. So there are several key functions of vitamin D that are essential for our survival. This includes anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, and membrane stabilization activities, energy metabolism, reproductive biology, immune modulation, and promotion of favorable gene expression. So its primary functions are to facilitate the skeletal mineralization and bone formation. So in the absence of the low vitamin D, children will develop rickets and adults will develop a soft bone, what you call osteomalacia and other complications. In addition, vitamin D also controls cell proliferation and thereby having an important effect on the cancer risk reduction. Similarly, it also involved in the brain development, especially in infancy of the children, and mitochondrial energy generation is an essential part, and also it's coupled with the activity of antioxidant activity. And indeed, finally, it affects this respiratory function favorably. So, as you see, it has a wide variety of physiological functions as expected by the distribution of the gene as well as receptors in every cell in the body except red blood cells. Many of mentioned functions are relevant to controlling the the COVID infection. Vitamin D also produces potent antimicrobial agents in the body to fight against the invading pathogen. So as I said, it's an immunomodulator. It works in conjunction with the controlling inflammation and antioxidant activity, in part through suppression of the inflammatory cytokines and also increases synthesis of few beneficial cytokines as well. Vitamin D enhances the production of two very important antimicrobial peptides in the body, namely cathelicidin and defensin. This cathelicidin and defensin stimulates blood cells, natural killer cells, dendritic cells, and macrophages. They are to attack or to prevent microbial invasion from all aspects. In addition, it stabilizes the pulmonary epithelial cells and their tight junctions, which prevent unwanted thing going across the pulmonary membrane into the bloodstream. So, as you see, it's a vitamin had an important action, and particularly in the protection of respiratory viral entry into the body. So you can imagine that the opposite, the people with the vitamin D deficiency, all these defensive actions against the microbes become weaker. Therefore, they are markedly increase the vulnerability, especially to viral attacks. These multi-stage distinctive defensive system, there are two important things. It is capable of neutralizing the viruses in the circulation, thereby preventing viruses getting attached to or even reach to pulmonary and gastrointestinal epithelial cells. In addition, it also increases the rate of elimination of the viral and pathogenic bacterial load. Those are equally important. So let's have a look at how can we facilitate generation of vitamin D synthesis in the skin. Because as we expected that 80 to 90% of the vitamin D in the body was supposed to be generated through the skin, as the diet has got a very little vitamin D itself, except for sun-exposed mushroom and fatty fish like a sardine and mackerel. There are fundamental aspects one need to be aware of in getting sun exposed and get the maximum without harming themselves. So let's go through them one at a time for the benefits of the public and also to alleviation of the several myths regarding the sun exposure. So firstly, the upper part of the body has a several-fold increased capacity to develop or generate vitamin D compared to legs, for example, and the abdomen. Secondly, indoor sunbathing through the windows or skylights does not work as glass efficiently filter most of the UVB rays coming through. Similarly, the wearing clothes of any kind will also prevent UVB reaching the skin, therefore there won't be production of vitamin D even if you stay in the sunshine. Similarly, the use of sun protection creams, especially the one is with the sun protection factor, SPF factor, above 12 to 15, it virtually eliminate the UVB reaching the skin. So, it can be in the sun, but there won't be any production of vitamin D. Fourthly, it's a myth that, and in fact we were told in the schools and apparently still continue the same thing, saying that early morning and late afternoon sunlight is the best. Certainly not for generation of vitamin D. It's nice to go out in the morning and the evening. So why it is ineffective in the morning and in the late afternoon? Because the UVB rays are coming at a too wide angle to penetrate the skin. So it does not reach the dermal cells to produce vitamin D. So the most effective time for UVB rays is between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. Easy way to remember this is that when your shadow is shorter than your height, that's the time you can get the maximum vitamin D or UV rays from the sunlight. So because of that shorter acute, what you call the zenith angle of the sun rays reaching Earth is the maximum during between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. However, for tropical countries, it's too hot to stay outside the sun, especially after midday. So as a compromise, we suggest a direct exposure to third of the skin surface to direct sunlight through windows between 9:30 a.m. and the midday for about 30 minutes on each day. So that will produce an adequate amount of vitamin for vast majority of the people for keeping healthy. So if you can't stay at the 30 minutes at a time, you can stay at 5 minutes or 10 minutes at a time on several occasions during the day to catch up that time period. So if you apply the sun cream and stay in the sunshine again, as I said, there's no vitamin D generated. Nevertheless, if you want to stay longer than 30 minutes and enjoy the sunshine, it's advisable to use stronger sun protection ointment or cream, especially in the upper part of the body, face, neck and ears, etc., to prevent the sun-induced skin damage, which can cause problems later. So basically, if you have erythema or redness of the skin or sunburns after sun exposure, you are not having safe sun exposure. This is too much sun and you should cut down or at least start using sun protection cream earlier before you get a sunburn, because it can harm on the longer term and even can develop a skin cancer in years to come. So unless somebody is extremely sensitive to the sunshine, sunburn should be avoided. So staying beyond 30 minutes, as in the case of enjoying the beach or swimming pool, best thing to do is to get that 30 minutes exposure first and then apply the ample amount of sun protection cream or the ointment of your choice. One more important thing is that the person with the freckles in the skin are genetically known to be too sensitive to sunlight, and they too can develop skin damage and problems in the future. So they had to be the direct sun exposure for them should be shorter and should be protected with sun protection creams. The another aspect is that there are some medical elements like lupus or certain medication people take in can increase the sensitivity to UV rays and thereby enhancing the negative effects of exposure to sunshine. So they should be careful. So these people should rely on the vitamin D supplements than getting free vitamin D from the sunlight. Unfortunately, to date, none of the governments in the world neither understand nor advocating such a simple, safe sun exposure guideline or giving vitamin D supplements to improve their vitamin D level and the overall immunity of their countrymen to protect from various diseases. Now, I'm glad that you now know a lot about vitamin D and in fact you can go and teach other people. So, in the next video, I'm going to address a question of why respiratory viral infections are so common during the winter months. Till then, have a great day. Thanks. Bye.